Counselor? There's a raccoon stuck in the vending machine.
That's so annoying. I wanted a snack.
Welcome to Trail Mix.
Our mini episodes from Camp Counselors podcast.
Each week, the stories come from you, our Camp Shady Birch campers.
We want to hear your juicy gossip,
Top secret confessions,
embarrassing and scary stories,
and sprinkle in our sage counselor advice.
Trail Mix is for the campers.
And God, do we love ya.
Hey, happy campers.
Welcome back to Trail Mix.
This is our mini episode where we read listener-submitted stories. If you'd like to submit a story for us to read, you can go to campcounselorspodcast.com or send us an email at campcounselorspod@gmail.com.
The show is so funny because we batch episode these. Like for the normal podcast on Wednesday, I feel like we really are like pretty like weekly because we want to stay abreast with what's happening in the media. So it's kind of more consistent, but these we do like in advance sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're doing 2 today. So it's funny because this is episode 12, but like it hasn't been like 12 true sessions like the other one has.
Right.
It's just like funny, like the speed and the cadence of this show. It's very different. And it's also like, no, I don't want to say easier. It's just like so different than the normal show.
Yeah, I feel like this is more of like a hangouty, like chill vibe.
Campfire vibes.
Vibiana. Yeah, because we were going to talk about something at the top of the show. I was like, wait, chronologically, this hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but it's happening in real life. It's such a weird universe here. But today we're going to talk about the top. We just have busy days today. It's a busy day. We just recorded last week's.
Yes, the last Mondays, Trail Mix 11.
Yeah, and this is Trail Mix 12. And then after this, I have to run down to the postal service. I'm skipping the post office because I think they're fucking assholes there. They're so rude. Postal workers are really rude. And I don't want to generalize, but I've been working really closely with postal workers for a long time, and I have a hard time with them. They don't like me. When I used to sell merch out of my house, they would literally not show up to pick up my bags.
Okay. That's fair. Do we have any postal workers listening right now?
Listen, there's bad people in every industry.
No, I'm not taking that away from you because my ex was a postal worker and he's my ex for a reason. So.
Exactly. But there is this like place around the corner that's like a mom and pop like shipment center. Like you can get your taxes done there. I got my TSA pre-check done there.
They do it all.
They do it all. It's like one of those like mom and pop like, I don't know, like business centers.
It's a service center. They literally
they're nice there too.
They're so nice.
One time I was there and their ceiling was flooding. And I watched the whole thing happen. And like, not to be a Karen, but it was a little annoying because I was like, I was in line when it happened. And then like the entire office, like obviously stopped what they were doing to go handle it. And there was like 6 people standing around the bucket looking up. And I was like, well, one of you can handle the counter still because I got places to be. Yeah. And that was on me. You know what I mean? So it's like postal workers can be a bitch. I can be a bitch. I think we all can be a bitch. Mm-hmm. But I do think the men and women that work at that store they're lovely and I love to support them.
Yeah, that place is good because it's not actually the postal. It's not the United States Postal Service, the USPS, if you will.
Yeah, I'm sending a heavy package. I'm really curious what it's going to cost because like, I don't know about you guys. I don't send a lot of mail. So it's always very interesting and stressful when I do it. Like I'm always like, I feel like it's always my first time. It's like, I don't even know what to do. So, but they handled me well there. So I have to do that today. I have a lot of ads I have to film. A lot of stuff for TikTok. Holidays are around the corner, guys. So the ads really kick up on the social media. They're like, hey, everyone, start talking about seasonal products. I'm working on a DoorDash ad right now, which is great because you guys know I love a DoorDash. And I'm continuing my Aldi partnership. So lots of stuff to film. Also working on a video for Vita Coco. Any coconut water fans in the house? Vita Coco really has a grasp on the coconut water community.
Is that the one from Real Housewives?
Yes. It's the one that Rihanna. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember her sipping and she's like waving. Yeah.
With the square box.
God, I love product placement in music videos that are so obvious. I remember Miley Cyrus, the EOS. Yeah. When she had that was the era. Yeah. EOS. Yeah.
Cardi B just did a video with Meg Thee Stallion and there was so much product placement in it, but it was so fun. She was doing the product placement for, have you guys seen that skinny candy company? Target sells it. It's kind of expensive. Yeah. What is it called? Sweet snacks, smart something. They're very vibrant and they have like peach rings and like the Swedish fish and the gummy bears, but they're all like low calorie. For a candy lover like myself, it really is a great option. I still will buy the real stuff because those portions are really small and they're expensive. But I don't know why we're talking about products so much.
They have I don't know. I feel like it's a little gummier than usual.
Well, they have to. It's different. Do you guys know what's in gummies?
Don't you dare. What is it?
It's like pig hoof.
Oh, because gelatin, like
Gelatin.
actual gelatin, I believe is horse hoof.
That's sad because is the horse alive?
Right now?
Well, can they cut a little bit off and use it for the
Oh, like a
jello?
toenail?
This is disgusting. We're moving
Okay.
on. Welcome back to Trail Mix. That took a real hard turn. I'm sure we lost some listeners there, and I can't blame them.
Yeah.
So on today's episode, we have a camper's childhood attempt to recreate some movie magic. I'm obsessed with the story.
A listener who needs some corporate climbing advice that may ruin a friendship.
An angel number that saved a life.
And a pregnant camper who chased down car thieves.
It's a good episode. We're sorry about the hoof comment. Let's get into it. This is a really big secret. Thank God we're on a body of water. This is Confession Canoe. Welcome back to Confession Canoe. I want to hear what you got to get off your chest. I want to hear your embarrassing stories. This one is an embarrassing childhood story, and we've been getting a lot of these lately, and they're so funny. We've done a lot of poop stories, which you guys know I'm an IBS survivor and I love them, but we've taken a real turn on the show with like childhood stories, and you're right, people kind of write in what they're hearing.
Yeah.
Which I kind of love.
Mhm.
So this is a childhood story that really made me laugh. So let's go for it. Hi counselors. You know those moments that are so embarrassing, you think about them when you're alone and cringe? This is mine.
I have so many of these, and I physically want to like leave my body. I think about them a lot right before I'm about to fall asleep. I think about them a lot when I'm like, just kind of when I'm alone and wish that I could think about anything else besides that one time I did something that nobody probably remembers.
I know. Do you know what I like? How I sing so much in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like, and I croon. I'm a crooner, as you guys know. Sometimes I sing really. Actually, most times I sing really well. Like, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. Sometimes I will do a vocal arrangement that I'm not sure what's happening, and when it ends, I was like, wow, I projected that so loudly. That was really bad, and I like. It hurts myself. Like I cringe at myself.
But it's in the house and it's literally only me and the cat.
I know, but I'm just saying, like that feeling of embarrassing yourself is it's a sharp feeling, like a sharp cheddar cheese.
It's a sharp, stinky cheese.
Okay, so the year was 2004. I was 14 and spending the summer in northern Michigan with a friend and her family. That summer, we had a life-changing moment of seeing The Notebook in theaters. That was probably really fun to see that in theaters. An iconic movie. We were hooked and convinced at the mature age of 14, we too would have a summer of romance with a guy confessing their love to us. Really high hopes and big expectations for the summer. I love this. Fast forward a week. My friend's aunt had a friend that was hosting 2 German students for the summer, and they were throwing a bonfire with friends, to which she suggested we go. We thought we had hit the jackpot. Not only would we be getting our summer love that was destined to be everlasting, but they were European. Sign us up.
Ooh, European boys.
European boys. Something about them being international really just ups the ante. You know?
Especially when you're younger. It's just like, I've never been there, but I know someone who has.
In high school, did you guys ever have like exchange students?
Yes, we
Were they
had.
hot?
The only exchange student I remember was a girl, and she was. And it was so funny because she lived down the street from me. It was like the exchange student of the girl who was on my bus. And I always thought she was so nice. She came over to my house once. She like met my family. She was super nice. I don't remember where she was from. But when she left, like a lot of people who she was hanging out with in the inner circle were like, she was such a disaster. She was so annoying. She like would make my dad buy us all this shit. Her luggage was overweight. And I was like, oh my God, I never saw that side of her. But all that to say, yeah, she was hot.
She was hot, yeah. I also agree. We had so many foreign exchange students in high school. I'll talk about it after because I have a lot of thoughts, but I also want to give this story its due diligence here. So I'll talk about that after the show. After this story. Let's keep going. Well, the night her aunt dropped us off at the lake, it was my friend, me, 2 16-year-old German boys, and their non-exotic American friend. That was so shady and so true, because if you're in the presence of 2 German boys and the non-exotic American friend, like he's non-priority right now. My friend and I instantly pick a German guy and spent the night spending what in our 14-year-old heads was a night of destiny and faith. I think our camper meant fate, but destiny and faith is even better. In reality, we probably spent maybe 3 hours tops with these German hugs, but we were smitten. We had to go back to Texas a couple days after that, but spent the entire car ride back romanticizing and overanalyzing every second of that 3 hour night and how we would definitely see them again because we were obviously meant to be. I love that recap of a friendship like that. Like, oh my God, every moment was just so perfect. My friend's aunt knew we were basically in love with them and sent us a picture of the German hunks from that summer her friend had given her. And like normal teenage girls, we printed them off and framed them. The aunt told her friends that we wanted to be in touch with them and gave us their addresses in Germany. So after a 3 hour night spent with two guys that don't even live in the same country, we both wrote letters inspired by the goddamn Notebook. Lord knows what the letter said because I remember my letter being 2 pages. Needless to say, we never heard back from them. Oh, I am now 33 years old and happily married to an American and will still cringe thinking about that random guy getting a letter from a random girl he spent 3 hours with one night. Signed, The Failed Notebook in Cabin 3. Listen, you saw a movie, you were inspired, you were trying to recreate some movie magic, and you should not be embarrassed. I get it probably is a little cringy, but like that story was really amazing. And you brought so many of us here at Camp Shady Birch a laugh. So thank you for going through that to like for the greater good of the community here, because that is so funny that you printed their pictures. Like,
And then, like, what are you saying for 2 pages? In my head, I'm imagining it's
I
like,
know.
remember when you dropped that cup? And that was so funny because I remember that too. And also, do you remember when you did this? Because I also remember it. I feel like that's probably what the majority of it was. Like, what are you talking about for 2 pages?
Also, in my mind, I'm picturing like some sort of like severe language barrier, which is
Right.
like why it was 3 hours. It was probably like really trying to communicate like tough. It's hard. You know what I mean? German is a guttural language. I took 2 years of it in college. None of it stuck except Flugzeug, which is how you say airplane, campers.
Oh, that sounds like Simlish.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is some root in German in Simlish.
Hausfrau.
What does that mean?
Um,
Bad bitch.
no, I think it means like the housewoman, house mom, Hausfrau.
Where did you hear that from?
The store.
Okay, that's interesting. I want to go back to my experience with exchange students. There were so many hot exchange students in Dartmouth High School. There's also some really like weirdos too. But like anyone's weird, right? So it doesn't matter. But there was this like family of Norwegian boys. And like it's so funny because if you went to high school with me, like everyone's gonna know who I'm talking about. They weren't an exchange student, but they like had dual citizenship. I think they were born in Norway, but like their dad lived in America. So they like went to high school in America and they were all like 6'2", blonde or reddish hair. They looked like if they did live action Frozen, like these would be the townspeople.
Oh my God,
They were
Norway.
all like so hot and they all like, they didn't have acne, they had rosacea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they were just like rosy posy.
They were so rosy posy and they were so like, they looked like snowmen, but like personified.
I like
Like-
that visual. Like they just came inside from a blizzard outside, and it's like
Oh my
it's
God.
July in Boston.
Constantly like chopping down trees with
Yeah.
axes. Paul Bunyan-esque, but more blonde. They were so hot, and there was brothers, and every single level of that, one of them was like hot in a different way, but they all looked very similar but different. And the youngest was in our grade. I thought he was cute. I thought the older ones were hot. He was cute, but that was fun because he had like that going for him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So their last name was, I'll just tell you, you can bleep it out. Brothers. Oh my God! I'll show you after. They were all so hot, and guess what? I think I recently looked them up, and they're all still so hot. Like, good for them.
Good for them.
Good for them. You know what? Because when you have that European blood, especially in America, when we're all like Portuguese and short and like hairy with brown hair, like they were just
That's
setting.
not that's in your area.
Yeah, well, I'm talking from my experience.
okay.
They were setting a different standard that was just like exotic, even though Norway is like not exotic.
Yeah.
It was fun. It's fun to think back about that kind of stuff. Yeah, I love to tell stories, and I love that we all do. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Do you have? Is your? Sorry, I'm sorry. Is yours a confession canoe as well?
No, mine is in the next section. It is a Dear
Oh.
Counselors. Are we qualified to be giving advice? No. Are we going to do it anyway? Absolutely. Welcome back to Dear Counselors, the part of the show where we are offering up advice. Whether you want to take it or not, that's up to you. Okay, so This camper writes in, Dear camp counselors, I've been working at my job for a little over 2 years now. When I first started, I instantly connected with one of my coworkers, and since then, we've been best friends. Our boss was recently promoted, and her position is now open. My coworker, Bestie, is planning on applying, and everyone around her is telling her that she is a shoo-in and she will definitely get it. I've been hyping her up about it for a few months now. It should also be noted that since the news has come out, I've been on maternity leave and just recently got back to work. My bestie has been very wishy-washy about applying for the job for the past few months. One moment, she'll give an excuse that she wants to look for jobs outside of the state, something with more pay, or finding somewhere that values her more. The other day, she said that she still wants to see the opportunity through, but I will say she has more recently been against applying. Okay, so she really is just like wishy-washy, like she doesn't know if she wants to apply for this or not. So my issue is that since she's been feeling this way, I've started to think, well, if she doesn't apply, I should. I haven't told her about how I'm feeling because I'm worried she'll think I'm double crossing her. I will say that she's an awesome worker and she will probably get the position if she applies. Since she is so great and people love her, I'm fearful that I'll waste my time or seem like a bitch to my friend. What should I do, y'all? Should I just not apply and forget about it? Or should I tell my friends that I'm interested and apply anyways? In the 2 years I've known her, we've never been in a fight, and I'm worried this is going to turn into a big issue if I tell her about it, which would make it very awkward if she does in fact become my boss. I love you guys and y'all brighten up my day. Signed, the anxiety-ridden camper in cabin 5. Okay. So I've got some thoughts. Do you want to go first?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I feel like let's keep in mind that this, yes, she's your friend, but she's your friend through work. You know, you got this job and then you have this friend who also happens to work there. I don't think you would be double crossing her if you communicate to her how you're feeling, especially because this girl has been wishy-washy for what you're saying, a few months. Like, damn, is that job position like still open after a few months?
Yeah, right. Like, when is it going to be filled?
Right. So I would say don't feel bad about bringing it up and just be completely open and honest, because I feel like the way that you've written it here, like you have a good head on your shoulders. I don't think you applying isn't malicious at all. I don't think that would be, I would not think somebody's like double crossing me, especially if I'm being wishy-washy. And also, who's to say you wouldn't get the position? Do you know what I mean? Or if that person gets the position and then decides they don't want to stay there and then like leaves like right away, and then you just lost your opportunity to do that. You know, you're here for a job. And if that job opening is something that you want to do, I would say apply for it. Don't let somebody else, especially like someone at work, stop you from getting your coin. You know?
I agree. I think too, like, just if you're friends with her, like you say you are, like, just be like, hey, like, queen, what's up? This is not queen behavior. Are you going to apply or not? Because from one queen to another queen, I'm looking to get my coin up. So just to ask her, be like, if you're going to apply, then would you mind if I applied as well? If you think she's definitely going to get it, then obviously, like, if she applies, it's probably just hers anyways, but you need to talk to her. You guys are friends. But at the end of the day, this sounds so cynical, but I'm going to be cynical for a minute. I'm going to be realist.
We're at work here.
We're at work. We're clocked in. This is work. You know, how many times have you left a job and you were really close to people and then you kind of fall off? You know what I mean? So like, look at the big picture here. She's obviously a really good friend to you, but like, you also want to provide for your family. You're off on maternity leave. Things are stepping up. So
right, exactly. And it's not like you're not taking a position that she wants so badly.
Yeah, she's being so wishy-washy about
She's being wishy-washy. She doesn't even know if she's going to stay in the state. So I say don't let that stop you from potentially stepping up your coin and having a good job.
There's always those people in life that you meet that are so willing to move states. You either are born with that or not. Like when we moved to New York, it was like I literally sobbed every single day. It was the most painful session of my life. Like it was really difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I always like work with people who are so willing to be like, yeah, we're going to Florida. No, we're moving to North Carolina. We're going to try it for a year. And if not, we're going to move to Georgia. It's like, how are people so willing to jump states?
I think it's because, I mean, it's
a military brat. I love that.
Either that or like, I kind of like grew up like that. Like I bopped around a little bit when I was like young, so I feel like I'm used to it, and I have an understanding that whatever you're calling a hometown is always going to be a hometown. It'll always be there.
Yeah, but you didn't make that decision. I'm saying people who are like actively making that, like your parents are like that, I guess.
Right, but we actively made the decision to move here, and I would be actively making a decision to move like anywhere else in the future. But I think it might be like how they're raised. I don't know. don't know. It's a good point to bring up.
It's just like it's a funny characteristic, and it seems like your friend has that. But talk to her, and if she's isn't going to apply, then you better apply, camper. You're qualified, and be kind to yourself, and also believe that you also are willing and able to do this.
Yeah, I was just gonna, honestly, great advice. I was gonna say that too. That, you're saying, oh, she's a shoo-in, she's a really good worker. Well, so are you.
Yeah, you're a shoo-in.
Yeah, come on. We believe in you and we have all the faith in the world in you. You're not doing it maliciously. I think communication here is key to keep your own conscience clear, and not make anything weird. But I say just go for it and you're going to get that position.
Scary stories around the campfire.
Welcome back to Scary Stories Around the Campfire, campers. We have 2 this week. We both have one. Is yours scary or is it embarrassing? I want to know.
Mine, I don't even know where mine would have fit in otherwise. It's kind of scary, but it's kind of like what's going on. It's not scary or embarrassing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Mine's haunting.
Okay.
It's kind of spooky.
All right, let's get into
But
it.
nice. Okay. Dear counselors, believe it or not, my grandmother saved my brother's life from beyond the grave. First of all, to this camper, that was a really good hug because you really hugged me in really fast.
And hey, let that be noted to other campers who are trying to write in who maybe you've written in and you're like, oh, they didn't read mine yet. Give us a good hug.
Give us a hug. Jesus Christ, the competition. Wait, she passed away in 2005 when my brother and I were both in college. As you do when someone passes, our family went to her house to clean out her belongings. My brother started to notice a pattern emerging that we had never paid attention to when she was alive. My grandmother had the number 59 in her license plate. Phone number, zip code, and even her P.O. box number at the post office had a 59 in it. So 59s are everywhere that they're noticing.
And you were talking about the post office today.
Oh my God. But I don't have a number, so I don't know if that connects.
Well, what if we go there at 1:59 today?
Okay, we'll see what happens. I'm going to the local place. I'm not going to the post office.
Oh, yeah.
Stop. Well, while going through old photos, we also realized that she was 59 years old when my brother was born. That's a lot of coincidences. Angel numbers, some would say. Fast forward a month or two, my brother was driving from college to our family home for the weekend. He was in the passenger seat of his friend's car. It was late at night, and they were on a 4-lane highway, so big highway. Glancing at the clock, my brother saw the number 59 and suddenly felt uncomfortable in his seat and a bit tired. Do you mind if I lean this seat back and take a quick nap? He asked his friend. The friend told him that was fine, so he reclined his seat. Moments later, a tire came off of a car going the opposite direction on the highway at 70 miles per hour and landed right on top of where my brother was sitting. As it was, the impact broke his nose, but had he not reclined the seat, he most certainly would have died. From that day forward, we knew that my grandmother was protecting not just him, but all of us from beyond. The number 59 hasn't come up with any other life-threatening events since, but we all take it as a sign that when we see it, she is close by and watching over us.
I believe it 100%.
I absolutely believe it because the way his body was triggered by seeing that time and instantly was like, oh my God. And he lay down all of a sudden. And yeah, it broke his nose, but if he was sitting up, it would have
killed him.
Probably broke his neck.
Probably would have literally just killed him.
The wheel was coming off of the car going the opposite direction. So it just Final destination ass bitch. That's crazy. And I don't know, when people don't believe in spirituality, that's okay, I guess. But sometimes, I don't know, when things like that all connect, it just kind of feels like, what else would that be other than some sort of connection from the beyond?
Yeah, I don't think it needs a logical explanation. And I feel like people, if somebody wants to say something to someone who believes that it's why are you just trying to, what's your your motive to try to get somebody to not believe in it? Do you know what I mean?
Because when people don't believe in stuff like that, I'm never well, why don't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's okay, fine. You want a scientific explanation? Go off.
Not me kind of being well, how don't you? But, you know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. But you're not no.
Yeah, I'm not going to stand on a pulpit and start screaming. So.
Yeah, I don't even know what a pulpit is.
Okay, what is your scary story?
All right, here we go. This is a little bit long, so strap in, guys. And I love the way, okay, can we just say how the camper wrote this in was in the largest font we have ever received an email in, and it was in bold, and it is written, what I believe is a voice to text. I think
no, it
this
wasn't.
Camper, I think she set up her phone and she was here, and then she just stood there and rattled off the story because the way that it's written is so you'll hear it.
Yeah, and honestly, how she is as a person makes sense why her email was sent that way. It just like matches with everything, like matches up, like her energy.
Oh my God, wait, I don't think so. I think that was in the heading because I don't think she says it in here. Basically, she's how tall was she? 4'11"?
She said she was 4'11" and
Yeah.
pregnant.
It was in the title, like 4'11" pregnant. And then, okay, here we go. Let's get into it. Picture it. I'm 5 months pregnant and I have just woken up after not being able to get a good night's rest. I brush my teeth, wash my face, head downstairs where I open my shades and then go proceed to make my morning coffee. That morning, I was stopped in my tracks when I opened the living room shades and noticed my car was gone. I go outside and I'm literally like, what the fuck? I know I parked right outside my house. I always do. No pregnancy brain here. Then I thought, maybe it was towed. But then I thought again, I was like, why the hell would I be towed? I don't owe tickets and I'm parked in front of my house.
Like so logical. Like so logical. Honestly, like her voice, and this is so funny. I love this story.
At this point, I should be panicking, but instead I'm pissed. I rush inside and I wake my boyfriend up out of his fifth dream and I tell him, pull the cameras now, my car is missing.
We need to talk about this for a minute. How do we know it's your boyfriend's fifth dream? What does that mean?
And what does that mean?
She's like, I will come up from his fifth dream, okay? I'm like, wait, how do we know that?
Is that a saying? Maybe that's a saying if we don't know.
I don't know. Remember we were just saying in the last episode? We
Yeah.
were like, oh, I don't remember my dreams.
Yeah, and I know I had multiple dreams last night. I know I did.
But you have 5?
Probably.
Our camper's boyfriend had 5.
Okay, well, he was woken up out of his fifth dream. Pull the cameras now, my car is missing. Help, my mother is missing. He wakes up startled, but I jump into action and call the cops. They come gather information and they tell me they'll keep me posted. When they pull the front porch camera, we pull the front porch cameras. It shows 3 little shits going into my boyfriend's car, which was left open by pure negligence on his part. And they later came out with the spare key I kept in his car, negligence on my part, and figure out that my car is the cute little Chevy Spark parked across the street. All this information came to me before coffee, so I naturally flip out on my boyfriend, blaming his upbringing in Pennsylvania being the reason he is so trusting and naive. I'm from Brooklyn. You always triple check the locks. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, I don't get why people don't lock their cars in their houses. I think that's just like ever since the serial killer was invented in like what? The 50s?
No, a serial killer. You have Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, but that was London, babes. That was different.
He's still a serial killer.
Well,
Sometimes I'm like, what if it was Jackie the Ripper? What if she was like,
oh, Jacqueline?
what if it was Jacqueline the Ripper? But we won't go down that avenue.
Okay,
or as
but
they would
anyways,
call
like
it in
just
London.
lock your cars and your doors.
Right. It's not that hard.
I'd be pissed too if I was her.
Okay. But okay, so see, that's why I think she just like was speaking this. But okay, so he feels like shit and offers to drive me around to canvass the block to see if we spot it. After figuring out I had a subscription to OnStar. How do you figure out you have a subscription? Do you forget about that?
Yeah, because you don't use OnStar unless you have it. And sometimes when you buy a car, they give it to you for like a year free or whatever. I can see that because you're not like using OnStar actively, like help, like.
Is OnStar still around?
Yeah, they're going the way that like what happened to Garmin, what happened to
TomTom, not the
TomTom,
restaurant,
yeah.
but the GPS.
So there's a lot going on there for sure.
Interesting. Okay, but so they're driving around. She's the OnStar subscription, and I call them to see if they can track my car. They proceed to tell me that I need my PIN and my password of some sort. I say I'm going to go home to get the paperwork, but while they're on their way home, we're 3 blocks away from our house when I spot it. The New York Mets decal on the back window that only a true New Yorker would have. I yell, "That's my car," and he puts his foot on the brakes and does a crazy, probably not so safe U-turn, and we are right behind them. I call the cops and they inform me that they are on their way. We didn't have time to wait for them, so I tell my boyfriend to pull up right beside them. The Jay-Z and me got out real quick. They had the windows down, jamming to some whack-ass modern-day auto-tune music I couldn't understand. I yell, "Pull the fucking car over. You're driving my car." The young girl driving freezes and immediately puts the car in park. As I'm getting out of my car, getting ready to approach them, the driver hops out and runs, leaving her best friend in the passenger seat. Wait, who, mind you, was dressed in a blue silk pajama shorts and hideous leopard silk robe. Like, I love how she's just like tearing apart the wardrobe.
As she should. Her car got robbed. I would do the same thing. I get this girl.
I start running after them. The same two cops I spoke to earlier pulled up right beside me and instructed me to stop running. They said, "Are you crazy? You're pregnant." So yeah, she's very pregnant in this. But my adrenaline was going, and he calls an ambulance. I tell him I'm fine, and these two little shits were caught. One began to vomit, the other began to cry. They were only 16 years old, and they were joyriding my car and smoking weed. The driver took all the blame, which made me so mad because, girl, my camera clearly shows 3 tall men taking my car. You can't do this to yourself. No man is worth the drama. But whatever, that's her life.
True. Honestly, like, I feel bad that she wouldn't have just come clean who was really doing it. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, listen, this ain't my problem. No.
Mm-hmm. All that to say, lock your car doors, people. Sincerely, your gangster prego camper in cabin 10 from Brooklyn, sent for my iPhone.
Yeah, but you can type it and send it on your iPhone.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So, hey, she caught it. See how I mean? It wasn't a scary story, but I thought it was entertaining and funny. I was like, I just picture this woman being like a badass bitch, but pregnant as hell. Running is not a good idea.
Yeah, she's like, you get up out of your 5th dream, pull the cameras, cops, go to the scene. I'll find him myself, pull him over. I feel like she's like pointing at everybody in that like the room and like just directing everybody. Like she's like, and she's 4'11", which I was talking to Jonathan about this. People who are below 5 feet are so like aggressive. Every girl I've ever met that's like short, they're always like just like super like, I don't know, like,
yeah,
like, I don't know. They're just so sassy.
Well, I do feel as though, because we met, what's her name, at the Marianne at the Pink concert, and she was really short, and she even said that she has to like make up for her height and her attitude, because you know, it is a thing that people are like, oh, so tiny down there, what'd you like?
Marianne at the Pink concert was so little, and I did not know it until we like left the concert together,
and she stood up.
She was at my waist.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, that's all we have for today's episode. Thanks for listening, campers.
Thank you so much for listening. Give us a 5-star review wherever you are listening to us. We greatly appreciate it.
And with that being said,
lights out, campers.